House. It's now, by my count, 7:02. So let's open the meeting. This is Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. It's 7:02. Virtual Zoom meeting, sitting as the Board of Appeals, Woody Chidick, Charlie Higginson, Dave McMorris, Lee Darst, Mike Dickey, and Matt Watkins, assisted by our able clerk, Cassandra Thayer. So we will open the meeting with that. And the first, if that's all right, and at the end of the meeting, we will deal with the minutes from January 3rd and deliberate on any closed hearings. The first of which is 49 Border Street, a variance filed by Peter and Carolyn Wariski. Any new materials, Cassandra, received between
No.
January and now?
No.
Does the board feel comfortable in closing this hearing so we can deliberate later on? Is that good?
For the special permit or for the variance?
Oh,
Because the variance has already been closed.
yeah, so this is a special permit. I don't
There's
see
a-
how the special permit really factors in. The variance supersedes it. Does it not?
Yeah, I think it was just being continued in case the
Anything else came in?
variance wasn't granted, so I don't know if we would
Yeah.
continue it for one more time and then close it, or.
I think the special permit was their plan B if they couldn't get the variance.
Yeah, I agree. So I would move to close it, and we can certainly deal with this as a non sequitur later on. So I've moved it to close the hearing.
Okay.
Okay, got a
Second.
second. All right, all in favor, Woody Chidick, aye?
Hey, McMorris, aye.
Charlie Higginson, aye.
Lee Darst, aye.
Michael Dickey, aye.
Matt Watkins,
And I don't want to, well, I was gonna say, I think the board condolences to Lee are heartfelt, and
Thank you.
I don't want to get into it, but
Thank you.
we all have you in our hearts. I know that much. Okay, next hearing, and it's a bit early, but nevertheless, 49 James Lane, request for a variance filed by Kellyanne Devine. This is a pre-existing non-conforming home. She was before us and will be before us for a special permit following, but there was some thought on the part of the board that maybe a variance would be a little bit overkill. We will come to that when we hear the rationale, but is she present, Cassandra, or not? She was scheduled for 7:30, although our schedule always says that be prepared.
Yes, she is present. I am promoting her now.
Okay. and Kellyanne, if you're out there, if you could both unmute and appear visually.
Yep.
There you go. All right,
Can you guys hear me okay?
sure.
Great. So I thought last meeting we voted to forego the variance and instead submit an application for a special permit.
Yes, but you're the applicant, so you have to withdraw the application.
Oh,
We can't force you to do anything.
Yep. So we're withdrawing that application for the variance and filing for a special permit.
Okay. Any discussion on the part of the board, or should we move to, I would recommend that we accept her request to withdraw, but
So what is it for? What we were looking for a consensus if we're okay with the change.
yeah,
in
well, I will,
application.
I'll just call a vote. I didn't know if the board had any discussion on the variance because she's resubmitted as the next agenda item, a special permit as a more appropriate method of relief.
Yeah, I would concur. That's my. I know we
Okay, well,
chatted about it.
anybody else, anybody opposed? Otherwise, I'll make a motion to accept the applicant's request to withdraw the variance application. So the motion
Second.
made and seconded. All in favor, Woody Chidick, aye.
Charles Dickinson, aye.
David Morris, aye.
Okay, that's 3.
Lee Darcey.
4,
Michael Dickey, aye.
5.
Matt Watkins, I.
Okay, so Kellyanne, now you're able to talk to us about the special permit, why you think that's relevant and why you think it's a good idea.
Yep. So I know you guys have the plans and also the revised site plan. Is that correct? I submitted it in January with a letter based on our last hearing. And so, 300-8.7 is more applicable here. That we're just, the special permit is just helping us extend the non-conforming structure. And we believe that this is more applicable. It's not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use and is not more injurious or dangerous because of the traffic or other reason. So we believe this is the right path forward here.
Okay, so board, what questions would you have of the applicant? Board?
But I don't have any questions of the applicant, and I don't really have any issues with the scope or size of the plan. I guess the only kind of question for the board is like that side setback, and we talked about it a little bit, that goes from 15 to 15. I mean, goes from 13.5 to 15.5. The result of it is still, or actually I'm looking at the two side setbacks, right? So one goes 13.5 to 15.5, the other one goes 13.6 to 13.
Right.
So yeah, the one that increases there by just a couple of feet
Half a foot, really.
is
Yeah.
pretty minimal, and we talked about how that has to do with the survey of the property. I just, when we look at those typically and see the 2 feet, I guess is our rationale. Do we get through that by just saying we're going to call that an extension of an existing non-conforming? We don't always look at those that way.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute, don't get it reversed. Actually, they're improving the westerly side setback 2 feet by removing a porch or building brick steps and stuff.
Like, yeah, bump.
What they're doing is encroaching on the easterly, or well, call it easterly, not quite, by half a foot. And that's because of the siting of the house itself. The more you extend back, the closer to the lot line you get, I guess theoretically, or,
Correct, because the property lines are not parallel.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's 6 inches.
Yeah.
More encroachment. And,
Yeah, it's like I say, I don't have any issue with it, but just as far as like our justification of it, we just would call that an extension of an existing.
yeah, and it's an extension that's not significantly more detrimental. I
Right.
mean, I would, not to argue on behalf of the applicant, but I would say it would be impossible to gauge by the human eye, that as you move back 20 feet more, you're 6 inches closer to the lot line. I mean, if ever there was a case of not significantly more detrimental, this is probably it. And if you'll notice that the neighbor's house to the east, the Tobias, I guess, their house is also not exactly parallel to the lot line. So all these houses were built and laid out in at one point, and the lot lines were drawn in another, and so they're all probably subject to that kind of encroachment. So I mean, I think this is inconsequential myself, but
We would agree.
I would hope so. Does anybody wish to ask questions of the applicant or challenge a little bit more? I don't want to just consider this a slam dunk. Frankly, the only thing that worried me is that, and I know you've had the Cavanaro folks or their successors do this plan, is that you're coming awfully close to structural coverage, building coverage percentages. But you comply, but I would urge them as your agents to be very certain about these numbers, just because it would be awkward if you were creating a coverage variance without intention.
Yeah. And that's also one thing that's changed since our last hearing, right? In good faith, we took out or removing the patio to
Patio.
below that coverage, correct? But understood.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't see any red flags here, but party of one. How does the board feel?
This is kind of one of those actual de minimis issues.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it'd be hard to argue the other way, but does anybody wish to be devil's advocate, or should we move along on this one?
We have the Cavanaro plot plan, and unless we come in with some other one, we've got to believe it's accurate.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think it just behooves the contractor and engineer to be sure that they're not, that because they're so close, that they certainly want to stay underneath these maximums. That's all. I don't have any, I'm not suspicious. I just a heads up, that's all.
Mhm.
Okay, well, on that basis, do we expect any other information coming forth?
No,
I think, Cassandra, could we not close this hearing and either deliberate later tonight, or if necessary, deliberate at the beginning of March when we meet, and with a draft decision in hand? We're
Yeah,
under-
I think would probably, because it's the first time on the special permit, right, would continue it, assign it,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
close
We
it.
don't have a decision yet. Okay. So I'd make a motion to,
And I don't think
Sorry.
do we have any public
oh, I'm
comment?
sorry. I beg your pardon.
I don't believe that there are any public comments. No one's raising their hand.
Okay.
is it a requirement to continue this further to March 7th?
Yeah, to avoid certain deadlines, we have to, and this is the first time seeing this, we have a draft that we assign somebody to do a draft decision. And at the beginning of, whenever we meet at the beginning of March, we read the decision and vote on it. I don't anticipate.
There to be a change, right?
It doesn't make any difference to you.
Okay. Except that the permit is issued, what, just a month later?
No, because we wouldn't have a decision until next month anyway.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it would be very awkward. Well, I mean, this doesn't apply in your case, but nevertheless, it's a policy or procedural rule of thumb that if you or somebody else came in with new information and we had a draft decision without that, it would be awkward to, incorporate that into a decision and vote on it or something, or not vote on it. I mean, in this case, it doesn't apply, but it's just the procedure that we follow. because-
Formality. Okay.
Formality. Well, oftentimes there are sort of, last minute changes that we have to incorporate. And
Okay.
So it's just our policy not to open a hearing, close it, and vote on it the same night. It just doesn't.
Got it. Okay. So March 7th, it will be
We could,
closed
yeah,
out.
we could give you a break, but the next person, then we probably wouldn't want to. Let me put it that way. Okay, so make a motion to continue this hearing until, Cassandra, what is the March date? It's like the
March
4,
7th.
5, 6, 7. Okay, March 7th.
Seconded.
We will deliberate and on this decision, on this application.
Okay.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night. Take care.
You too now. Okay, looking for my. Oh, right, I know I had my. Got it. Okay, next one up is a special permit filed by John Barres and Vicky Modeste for renovations to a dwelling to increase coverage at 80A Nichols Road. So is the applicant available? Sandra, what do you think?
I am pulling forward Brendan Sullivan.
Okay,
Brendan, if you need anybody else, just let me know.
I don't think so at the present time. I think we're good. Sorry, for the record, Brendan Sullivan with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. Here representing John Barris and Vicky Modest for 88 Nichols Road. So it's an existing structure, pre-existing non-conforming. Do you want me to pull the plan up or?
yeah, maybe
Yeah,
the
okay.
site plan, wouldn't the site plan be useful? As opposed to the construction plans initially, just so we're all oriented, sort of on the lot itself. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So this is down, it's not on Nichols Road, it's off a right of way in the down back of Nichols Road. Borders Little Harbor in the back. The structures approximately was built in 1955, more or less. About 3,800 square feet gross floor area. So what we're doing is a couple small additions within the building setback, and within the building setback, we're adding some dormers to the garage. There's already some dormers there, we're just making them bigger. So that's within the front yard setback. As you can see, with this area in red here is the non-conforming piece of the existing structure that we're adding. And as far as the facade calculations, we did a front facade, which is facing the garage doors. The garage doors are right here, facing like south. Then we did a calculation on the right side of the house, which is probably like the east side. And then we also did a rear facade calculation facing the back of the garage. So those net increases in facade are 3.8% increase in the front. We have approximately 6.7 increase in the side and 1% decrease in the back. And I think the architecturals you have show those as well. And there's a summary in the last sheet that has the summary of the facade calculations and the areas as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, that has nothing to do with your application, but that's quite a site. Out toward the little harbor, it's,
Yes, it is.
a bit of a drop off.
That's well, it's the lagoon, which is off of a little harbor. Obviously, that's where like James Island is, and
Right.
the other side of Nichols Road.
Okay. Being in the RC, this has a 50-foot setback, and you're not really encroaching further, are you, into the front line? You're just simply going up and,
Correct. Yeah, we're maintaining the front yard setback, which is measured off of the center line of the way, because it's less than 40 feet. It's only 25 feet. So in the center line of the way, it's kind of odd because it usually lines up with the property line or there's much, but it's kind of offset, as you can see. So it's kind of an odd shaped right of way. But yeah, the proposed and existing setback is 28.8 from the center line of the way.
you're applying for relief under
Is it
section 872,
872, I believe, yes.
which is that you're making some alterations in the setback, but that you're not making it more detrimental to the
Right.
neighborhood because you aren't really changing the metrics really.
Right, it's a minor roof change. Like I said, the dormers are just getting a little bit bigger.
Yeah, the rest of it is negligible. I mean, the building coverage goes up, and not at all, but it's certainly not, it's certainly conforming, so that's not an issue. I mean, any changes that I see here are essentially still well within the requirements. Except for the volume that you've talked about, but I mean, who would know? It's a kind of an interesting site. I kind of amazed that the house was built there in the first place. Not that that's a bad idea, but it just must have been a struggle.
Right, I'm sure.
What about board questions here?
Just, thanks for teaching me a new word. I never heard of an orthogon before.
An orthodon, is that? Go ahead. I missed that. What is an orthodon?
Orthogon. It's a right angle triangle wedge, sort of.
Orthogon. Did I say that?
It's in the plans, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't think that
Wow,
came from my office.
wow, I thought we'd heard. Which page, just out of curiosity, not to
It's on A3.
A3.
It's that little right triangle that's floating in the air.
Orthogonal projection of dormer. Well, I went right over that. And it's also in the tower on A4.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe that's a description of the visual. Maybe.
Yeah, but that comes into play because, obviously the corner, the building isn't parallel to the lot line. So you get that odd, odd shape of a facade. You could probably do the facade a couple ways here, but we chose to do it, in 3 different sections. I mean, I think it was minimal anyway, but I think it's the way that shape comes in. It peaks at the setback and then decreases as you go back. So it's like a pie wedge shaped
Got it. Yeah,
volume.
interesting. Interesting. I'm not sure, David or Matt, that we've had a orthogonal increase in the setback before.
I'm sure you've had them, just wasn't called orthogonal. It was probably just called an irregular shape.
I'm still having trouble pronouncing it, but other than that. Questions on the part of the board are you comfortable? Do you have concerns? Do you want more information? There is a little squaring off in the back, 40 square feet cantilever deck, but it's well set back and out of the setback, so I don't see much of anything here to be concerned about, both the really small percentage increase as well as the site location. I mean, nobody, except maybe 2 people, are ever going to notice this stuff. But
Yeah, I don't have any
I'm
questions.
editorializing. I would like to hear from the board.
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Me neither.
I don't either.
None for me, Woody.
Okay, Charlie, anything, or are we okay?
What is the red thing in the center of the site plan?
Are you talking about where the arrow is now?
Yeah, that's not before us now, is it?
No,
It's just red.
it's an
Yes.
addition, but it's in outside of the setback, so.
Yeah, I believe usually you call for red being the nonconformity. I think we just made all the additions red in this case,
Yeah,
just to confuse you a little more.
okay, it worked. But yeah, that's not before us. In fact, there's another little red sliver. It says something Bluestone patio. That's also not before us. That one there.
Right, yes, that's a
It's an addition, but it's a
Right.
conforming addition. So it's,
yeah, as well as this.
oh, on that one too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Good Lord. All right. Well, at any rate, the only thing are these dormers, it seems to me, within the setback, but they're up on the second or third floor, whatever floor you call it, and I don't think anybody's ever gonna notice it, really. My point of view. I'd be prepared to continue this until March 7th for to close and deliberate. Any contrary points of view, or can we make that motion?
Yeah, I don't see any public comment, right?
No, there's no one in the audience.
Okay, well, we are a little bit early according to the agenda, but nevertheless, I'd make a motion to continue this application until March 7th, at which time we expect to have a draft decision to discuss.
Second,
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, Woody Chidick, aye.
Charles Higginson, aye.
David McMorris, aye.
Lee Darcey.
Michael Dickey, aye.
Matt Watkins, aye.
Great. Now the next hearing is for a dock at 185 Jerusalem, but it's been requested by the applicant to postpone until March 7th. Is that correct, Cassandra?
Yes, that's correct.
So I would make a motion to accept the app. Sorry.
Could we ask them to work on the site plan? It's very difficult to,
Yeah.
all of the buildings are in it and who owns the lot in front. There's a lot of questions. which we might start now so that they at least put it out for, we're ready for it on March 7th.
Yeah, I've suggested, but to Cassandra that at the least, it would appear that a variance is going to be required because it doesn't meet the setback. And it's a structure. We're not dealing with dwelling setbacks. This dock is a structure, and at least from an appearance standpoint, it would look to require a variance. If they don't wish to file for a variance, fine, but I wouldn't, I mean, that's up to them, but I wouldn't want them to waste valuable time going for just a simple dock permit when there may be more. That's one thing, Charlie. And I think the other thing is, it's not clear to me what rights there exist on this carve out, this 1 foot, 5 foot or whatever it is wide, 6 foot wide right away. Do any of the neighbors have rights of way? We don't know. Rights of passage, if you know what I mean. And that could impact whatever decision is made. And certainly the neighbors have concerns, and there's plenty of time to talk about that. But we would seem to have jurisdiction all the way down to the mean high water, right? And I don't see that on this plan. Well, I see it in the bottom drawing, but we would have it basically almost down to the float. And I would like them to think about both rights of way, I mean, is what's deeded and how they might deal with the issue of setback. What other thoughts? I mean, just while John, do you have any thoughts, John Howland, on this one? I mean, if they're withdrawing or postponing, I would say, maybe this is a time to give them a few.
I don't have the plan in front of me, but I looked at too. I had the similar question if they're building on the right of way, and what they're doing on that, because sometimes access doesn't mean structures on the right of way. So that would be my only question at this point.
Yeah. How about other board members? Just again, we're not deliberating, of course, but we're just sort of saying, when you come back, you're going to have to deal with these things.
I agree with Charlie. I think it was hard to follow the lot lines.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. So let's add that as the third request that we. Yeah, I mean, if the lot line is that one of the two solid, the outermost solid line, it's not labeled as such. I mean, it's silent. It's not mislabeled. It just isn't labeled. So yeah, okay. So it's what are the deeded rights here for all for the three neighbors, the Maltzes and the Lacey's, as well as the lot owners, and so on and so forth. Anybody have any other issues that we would like, or thoughts we'd like to pass on to the applicants or their representatives? I'm certainly prepared to accept their request to postpone it, because I think we'd be postponing it anyway. It'd be for more information, but. Okay, well, I'd make a motion to accept the applicant's request to continue this hearing until March 7th. With
Second.
3 items to be presented to us in addition to whatever else they wish to present.
I'll
Seconded.
second the motion. Right.
Okay, moved and seconded. Woody Chidick, aye.
David Morris, aye.
Okay, anybody else? We've got,
Lee Darcey.
okay,
Michael Dickey, aye.
great.
Matt Watkins, aye.
Matt Watkins. And Charlie, you voted earlier, or you said Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, we have, I don't know, so when it rains, it pours, and when it's sunny in Philadelphia, here we are, 9:30 PM, special permit filed by the Santa Croce's, yes, for 76 Summer Street, even though the proposed garage is not before the board, at least by application standpoint. My daughter and her husband did the design, so I'm going to recuse myself on this one just to avoid any semblance of conflict, and turn it over to Vice Chair Dave McMorris. And I will mute myself.
Thanks for the notice, Woody.
Apologies, I only discovered that they had designed the garage this afternoon, and I called my daughter and she said, well, we're not before the zoning board. And they said, yeah, but you have a designed structure, a garage, that they were really unaware of this. So Dave, I couldn't give you much of a heads up, but
Okay, well,
I'm turning it over to you at any rate.
and I'd like to turn it over to a volunteer because I don't have any paper here. I'm trying to do everything on my iPad.
All right. Charlie, you want to take over? Do you have the paperwork in front of you?
Yeah, but I gotta find it. Does somebody else have the map really? in front
Okay,
of them?
Matt. Okay, Matt, the hand starts to move in your direction.
All right.
Okay, so I hereby anoint Matt Watkins to chair this particular hearing, and I'm going to now mute myself.
Okay, Cassandra, can you bring forward the representative?
Yes.
I see you there, John, but looks like you're muted currently. There we go.
Good evening, John Turiaki. I'm actually here as a secondary attendee tonight. I believe Jeff Hassett was planning to present the project.
I don't see him in the audience.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to briefly go over the plan. Cassandra, would you have the site plan open by any chance?
I do not.
Yeah, and we had an updated site plan. The most recent one was January 31st. It looks like our packet had two different site plans, but my assumption is maybe you've been to the Conservation Commission in the meantime, and there's an updated plan that was part of our packets.
Oh, correct. There is, my apologies. There's an updated plan that I know is on the website under the zoning section. If you could just wait for a few seconds, I will just pull that. I just want to make sure I present the latest plan.
Jeff Hassett's coming on
apologies.
now.
Oh, perfect. I'll turn
You're
it
off
over
the
to Jeff.
hook.
Sounds good.
Sorry, John, to put you on the spot like that, and I apologize to everyone for jumping on late.
Oh, no problem.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Jeff, if you can just for our record introduce yourself and your role.
Sure, Jeff Hassett here. I'm a civil engineer with Morse Engineering, and I'm here representing the property owners, Jamie and Bronwyn Santa Cruz.
Thank you.
Okay, so this property is 76 Summer Street, And the proposed work is to demolish and reconstruct a detached garage. And we're in front of you because the project requires a special permit per section 9, because just about the entire property is in the floodplain and watershed protection district. That's defined by the elevation 9 contour per the FEMA maps. So elevation 9 runs right here. Otherwise, this project fully complies. So the lot is fully conforming with respect to frontage and area, and the garage meets the required setback. 15 feet is required, and we're proposing the garage at 20.6. So to give you a little more detail, to elaborate on that, the property is developed with a single-family home located here that was built in 1830, and then a detached garage located here that was built in 1950. There's a fairly large driveway with a turnaround here, coming back to the garage, and then extends over here to a stone wall that's about 2 feet tall, with the grade higher on the house side. So the proposed work will be to demolish that existing garage, build a new garage. We originally had it proposed in the same location. It's now been moved forward at the request of conservation. And the proposed associated work with that is reconfiguring and paving the driveway. The driveway will be paved, but it's about 34% smaller than the existing driveway. And then hardscape, including reconstructing this retaining wall that's crumbling here. It'll be a stone wall that's more squared off. The main entrance to the house is right here, and there's a landing and a porch there. So we're proposing a pathway and steps to getting you from the driveway to that door. And then a patio behind the garage with stepping stones set in the lawn to create a path to get there. For stormwater, we're specifying pervious surfaces wherever we can with the patio and the pathways. And then we're directing all of the driveway runoff will go to a crushed stone trench along this down gradient side of the driveway. And then we're also going to capture all the roof runoff in gutters and downspouts and pipe that runoff into the stone trench as well. So right now, all the runoff on this site flows back to the salt marsh, which then flows under the culvert under Elm Street out to the harbor. With these measures, we did perform all the stormwater calculations, showing that there's actually less runoff coming from the site in post-development conditions. And the new garage will be FEMA compliant, where the existing one is not. What I mean by that is the lower level of the garage will be for storage only and equipped with flood vents. And then any finished area will be located on the next higher floor. And to give you an idea of what the structure would look like, this is what it looks like from the front. So 2 garage bays on the bottom, finished area on the half story above with a dormer. So that is where we stand. This project was approved by conservation last week. And I'll turn it over to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff. And I think I saw the height in the upper area of the garage is it's labeled as a bonus room, right? So that's a habitable area. Was it 6'8" or so? I think was on the plan.
Yeah, there'll be steps coming up in the back and a small half bathroom and a bonus room. Yeah.
Okay. I think my only other question, I was going to ask you about the driveway, but I heard you just mention a stat. So I did see that it was paved, but you said that the footprint of it is 34% smaller than. I'm sure that probably had more attention at the Conservation Commission than it would here, but.
Yeah, when we originally proposed it, the house was set back about 20 feet further, and then we had 2 turnarounds similar to this one on the other side. So we scaled that back pretty significantly per Conservation's comments.
Okay, and you've received approval with order conditions that you could.
Yes, we have.
Okay, if you don't mind sending those to us just for our records as well.
Okay.
And then board members, does anyone have any questions for Jeff?
I don't. But I will make a comment. I thought that the cover letter with the summary was a good guide for the package.
Thank you.
Right, Jeff, I think maybe one of the, I know you have it in the memo, but one of the things, right, for 9.1, just if you want to, for the record, just touch on, or I'm sorry, 911, just the percentage will not increase. Where was that?
Yeah, I think it says that the footprint is not increasing by more than 300 square feet. And in this case, it's a 272 square foot increase.
Okay. Okay, any other board members? David, Charlie, Michael, have any?
Yeah, good.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Cassandra, do we have anyone in the audience that has a comment?
No one is raising their hands. So I
Okay.
don't believe so.
Then I would make a motion to continue the hearing until March 7th.
Second,
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Hey, McMorris, aye.
Charlie, are you? You might be muted.
I'll vote aye, Michael Dickey.
Lee Darstad,
Matt Watkins, aye.
There, I'm unmuted now.
Okay, and you're an aye?
Yeah,
Okay. Sounds good. The hearing's been continued till March 7th. We'll make an assignment on it and see you then.
All right, thank you very much, everyone.
And we can bring our chair back.
Okay. I'm back. Interesting that this happened quite so quickly, no complaints. So we agreed that our next zoning board meeting is March 7th, 2023. We have the order of business of approving the January meeting minutes. I don't think we have any deliberations at this point, but we do have to make assignments. But first, let's deal with the minutes. I didn't see anything that I would challenge in terms of the minutes, but sharper eyes might have, how did anybody, I know you've all read them and studied them, so any issues? I'm sensing no issues. Is that correct? So could I have a motion from the board and a second from the board to accept the minutes as submitted?
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Good man. Okay, moved.
Second,
Second, okay, all in favor, Woody Chidick, aye.
hey, McMorris, aye.
Charlie Higginson, aye.
Matt Watkins, aye.
Michael Dickey, aye.
Great.
and I wasn't there, so I can't vote.
Okay, so let's make a note of that, Cassandra. We have no closed hearings. We do have to make assignments, and by the way, I don't know whether this is an issue or not, and I'm asking Cassandra as much as anyone. It was pointed out to me that the design of 49 Border Street, a decision we've made already, but the design on the website is of a year or so old, May of last year, and it's one that we have not considered beyond that initial hearing. They submitted a new lower height, wider width site plan. Architectural design. Should we change that?
Are you referencing the documents on the town's website?
Yeah.
So the ones that are up there are for the special permit because the special permit had not been closed until this evening.
Oh, okay. All right.
So those are all like active
They're kind of-
applications,
And they're now,
but now that's
Moved,
closed, so
yeah.
that will then come off.
got it. Oh, I didn't. Very clever. All right. I mean, that makes perfect sense now that you've explained it, but
Now, Woody, I had somewhat, I know we deliberated on 49 border last meeting, and in my mind, I had almost thought that it was closed, but when I looked at the meeting minutes and the agenda, right, and I see that we had a finalized draft, it looked like we left it off that the draft was going to be finalized, but we needed to have a formal vote on it, is way that the meeting minutes read. So I don't know if that's still an action we have to formally take tonight. In my mind, I almost thought we had taken it, but I
did
did
I.
see Mike sent the draft, an updated draft, and I don't know if it's been voted on.
Cassandra, what are your?
I wasn't aware of a formal vote being taken. I thought there was an informal vote, but I don't recall a formal vote.
My recollection that you had voted to close the hearing, then had deliberated on the original draft decision. Mike then edited as needed, and now it needs to be voted on formally.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay,
and I think-
but
That's my recollection.
and if that's what the minutes reflect, I think that's what we have to do anyway.
that's what we have to do. So we have Mike's edited draft, which, and the edits were rather slim. I don't recall any major issue. But
And you commented on that second draft, Woody, so I updated, I think,
a
once
couple of
again.
factual things, but not
Yeah, so-
but not
so-
interpretive or.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd make a motion that we accept the draft as amended or edited by Michael of his own draft version 1. Just to
Second.
sort of clear the decks on that one.
But you were muted there, Mike.
I said, I think we're up to version 3 now.
No, you did a nice job, Mike, I must say. There's a lot of work that went into it. It's not always apparent unless you've struggled with these things before, but my thanks to you.
Well,
Okay,
thanks to everybody for, the comments and such on the previous drafts.
okay, so we have draft decision .3, version 3. So I'd like to make a motion to approve Mike's final draft with edits.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Woody Chidick, aye.
Dave McMorris, aye.
Charlie Higginson, aye.
Michael Dickey, aye.
And actually, I probably should have asked right before, I am in favor of it, but I was just checking. I did see that the draft had kind of fors and against that were, I just wanted to make sure that the three voting members are all in favor of approval of the variance.
Yeah, I think they've just voted. Charlie and Dave are the other two voting members. Charlie, were you?
Right.
You're eligible for this or not?
I believe so.
He is, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was just making sure that because I think with the variance, it has to be unanimous, right? So
Does it?
with the voting members anyway.
Yes. But a 2-to-1 vote doesn't work.
Right.
Okay.
Because
Well,
we're only a 3-member board. If we had 5 as the planning board or 4, then you could have 3 out of 5 or something of that sort.
I thought the eligible members for voting was you and me and Matt and Charlie and David, which was 5.
Well, it's been our practice that we work by consensus. And, I mean, frankly, only a couple of times in the last 20 or 30 years have we had a divided vote. And it's okay to be divided on a special permit, but on a variance or an appeal, it has to be unanimous.
Okay, okay, I wasn't aware of that, and so thank you, Matt, for bringing that to my attention. I certainly not going to stand I'm not going to be the sole dissenting vote on this. So.
Well, no, Mike, all you really need on it is the three, when we write it, is the three voting members. I was just, even though we all vote on it, I was just making sure on what we're
Yeah, and
approving
it's-
and not approving, so.
And the way the final approved decision is always written is that approved by, in this case, no offense, Lee, Messrs. Chittick, McMorris, and Higginson, period, because we're the only three with that kind of voting authority.
Okay, so yeah, I think I
I
was
mean-
the last, I think I was the last to have to vote, so I'm also an aye.
But I'm only comfortable if we have consensus, frankly. Without consensus in the past, the practice has been to take a step back and deal with the objections and come up with a compromise, something that we're not going to see in the US Congress for a while, but oh, those Canadians, Mike, they know how to run a country.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
Except for the strikes, but I mean, at any rate, okay, enough in that. We have approved it, voted on it, and that decision's made. And I understand now why the old plan was brilliant, Cassandra, brilliant. We're going to be missing Lauren, although Lauren Lind has not been directly responsible to this board or for this board. I think, did everybody get the email that she has resigned and is moving on to, I don't know, where is this firm, Cassandra? Is it Boston or
It's in
suburb?
Hingham.
Hingham. Oh, well, she's not going too far.
The big city.
Well, it's a big compared to our little town. Yeah, you're right.
Her commute is doubling now.
Really? Well, why don't I feel sorry for her? Well, at any rate. Okay, so Lauren is out. John, you've got your
Yeah,
work cut out for you. But as I say, it doesn't directly impact the board, this board, unless I'm missing. I mean, I'm sure as a colleague, it's been valuable for you, Cassandra, but we haven't had the kind of interface that might be really disruptive. I know the planning board is probably pulling their hair out or something. How do things look in the job market now that everybody's fully employed? What do you think, John? How long?
It's it might take a little bit to fill that, find someone there. I think Cassandra and I have our hands full to try to juggle a little bit till the position gets full and probably bring the new person up to speed. But I think they're posting the job at the end of this week.
Okay.
And Lauren is here till the 24th of February.
Well, sorry to see her go. I mean, the 24th is going to happen, in 2 blinks of an eye, unfortunately, for the town, not unfortunately for Lauren. But if we can make your workload any easier, Cassandra, because I know you're going to have to do some double duty, let me know. I just am not in a position to anticipate
I
You know.
appreciate that.
what that is, but we're with you. So I think with that, we have the meeting minutes approved. We have special permit for the Wariskis taken care of. The variance, have we denied Kellyanne requested a withdrawal of the variance for James Lane, so that was approved and taken care of. So we're really up to speed. We've approved, let's do the 49 James Lane special permit, which should be easy. The 80 Nichols A Road, which should be easy. There's nothing on 185 Jerusalem. And we have 76. So we have 3 decisions to write. Mike did the last one, so he should get a breather. Who wants to volunteer for the special permit 49 James Lane?
I could take 49 or 80A, whichever. I'm fine with either. I want to take
Okay,
49.
Lee, are you excused on any of these? I can't remember. When you're muted, so I can't tell.
The majority of the discussion on 49 James took place last week, so
Last month.
last month, I'm sorry, last month. So that one, I wouldn't be able to, I
Okay.
could do 80 or
Why
70.
don't you do
summer.
80 then, and I'll put,
Okay.
yeah, Matt in on 49. I mean, that's pretty easy. And that kind of leaves, Charlie, can you do the 76 Summer Street?
Yeah,
Okay. So it goes Matt on 49, James Lane, Lee on 80A Nichols, and Charlie at 76 Summer for our next meeting on March 7th. And I know we have I think a couple of things in the queue. Is that correct, Cassandra? I haven't looked at our agenda, but
Yes. Yes, there's, I believe there's 3 new applications for March.
so we can't breathe comfortably. Just when I thought we'd kind of swept the desk clear.
No, there's no signs of it slowing down anytime
All
soon.
right.
We're
No.
already getting applications for April's meeting,
Oh,
so.
yeah, because everybody applies and wants a decision in a month because they have a contractor lined up for the end of April. I know.
This might be more of an administrative question, and I don't know if John has the answer or not, but whereas we've closed the special permit for 49 border, but are approving the variance application, do we need to do anything voting wise with that? Because they're not withdrawing it, but it's been closed.
I think.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
I think Cassandra.
I was going to say once
again.
I think once they write the variant, then it could be either withdrawn or closed out.
I think if we vote to allow somebody to withdraw as they have on the variance, isn't that binding?
Yeah, I think they just have to write a letter that they're withdrawing without prejudice.
Oh, okay. Cassandra, have we received anything in writing from them?
I think Jeff DeLisi was waiting for the final approval for the variance. So I haven't received anything from him regarding the special permit.
Okay,
I very well could tomorrow, but I just figured
that's
while we're all
fine.
here.
John, good point. So we'll just ask Jeff to give us a letter requesting withdrawal so that we can accept it probably at our next meeting. It's just administrative. You're right. But
Okay.
we should do that.
I will at the very least make note of that.
Anybody else have issues? Are there any other, I'm just curious, John, what's happening with the harbor and the former Atlantica site? Anything?
Right now, they're still working on their permit set of drawings. We had a small demolition permit for them to do some viewing for the structural work that needs to be done. And they've also, with the weather last week and the freeze up, they lost their sprinkler system. So the sprinkler contractor has contacted us to do the repairs and get the salt house up and running. And they've agreed to also need to do a signal box so that when the sprinklers are activated, the fire department gets the call directly. So that's what they're doing now. But
Everything is proceeding.
Yes, I
Or slow,
probably
slowly, but
Yep, both the fire prevention officer and myself been down there a couple times, just to walk through with them, and I think it'll probably be March or April when we see a set of building plans.
Good. Okay, and everything up in the highway 388 to 400, the Stasco addition or construction, does that all comply with our earlier decision and your own? plans?
Just about. I want to say the two areas of to comply, they have to close the final sewer plans for 400, and then when they do that in the spring, there's a little bit of handicap parking and ADA work to do at one corner that they'll finish up when the weather allows them. But the recreation area in the rear and the parking around the new building are all completed. So they have temporary occupancies now. So once they finish all the work from that area, we'll issue the permanent occupancies.
Okay, well, that's good. There's a lot of construction going on. Oh, sorry, Charlie.
Where do we stand on the rehearing of the parking for the salt box with the new owners? Have they
Do they have new
requested a hearing?
owners?
What?
Are there new owners?
I thought there was new owners about a year and a half ago.
Oh, you mean the Cohasset Hospitality Partners or whatever they're calling themselves? The George McGoldrick, Ted.
Yes.
Yeah. They had my understanding, and John's going to correct me if I'm wrong, probably am, that they had about a 1 year, they volunteered a 1 year compliance by using the property they own across the street from the new condominiums, but then they left it up in the air as to where supplemental parking would go. Is that right, John?
Yes, right now they did have that off-site parking, and I think as we do we are right now, they're closed for the season.
Yes.
So we'll do our annual inspection and then revisit the parking situation to see where they're at. They've agreed to that.
Okay. And
Hey,
I
John,
don't
one
want
of the spot I was
Go ahead.
asked about, sorry, just while we're going around. On South Main Street there where they have that, it looks like there was a modular home in the back with the foundation and then a new construction in the front, you know, which one I'm talking about on the right hand side?
North Main.
Sorry, North Main, yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Yes, that was that was an unusual site. That was a pre-existing non-conforming lot with two homes on the same lot. So instead of going to the zoning board, I think it was Richard Hedison went to the state and did it through their mechanism. So essentially now that's two lots there that they broke up, the modular home in the rear, and then the new Cape style home with the 2-car garage in the front.
Okay.
And with a shared septic system, and there we did have them move a telephone pole in one area for access for the driveway, and then they had some other minor things to do around there. But it does look funny because it is. It's just a tight site, but it was all pre-existing, and now they're two separate lots.
Okay.
And to the best of my knowledge, by the way, just old business, Dolan Lane still is in the courts. Is that correct? I don't think that's moved much. A lot of continuances.
They have one. Well, actually, I suppose we have to put what part of Dolan Lane. The front part with I think Mr. Brewer. That one.
Yeah, the one that's in court at the Superior.
Yes, that's currently moving. There's been information exchange back and forth, but no set date when that will be. Council is on a month-by-month basis as to what's going with this. Mostly now it's just been information exchanged.
And you've had an issue farther back up Dolan Lane, I know, in the past. I suppose that's still alive?
Yeah, there's one further lot that they're in front of conservation now, but they haven't applied for a building permit.
Okay, well, if in doubt, and it seems like the zoning board perhaps should be involved, we should be at least consulted just to be on the safe side. I mean, you don't want to.
Yeah, and I've already spoke with town council about that, but I kind of was waiting till we get an application.
Right,
have
right. I mean, yeah,
all the-
no, I agree.
All the stuff.
Entirely agree.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff going on downtown. I mean, you've got, across the railroad tracks from the.
Yeah, right now
Rec
they're
Center.
they're coming along. They've got their as built in for the work being done. They've been pretty good about the control construction. The architect is down there usually about every other week, looking at that. So they're moving along. Over at Elm Street, they've finished the footings on the main building. So probably in about 2 weeks they'll start to fill in the area between the sidewalk and the building, so that the cavity that we see now will disappear and kind of feel a little safer over there. But so they're moving along. They haven't. I think probably next week they're going to start across the street at 87 with the foundation. So yeah, they're coming along, and I think the outstanding issue now is, or not outstanding, but for the sprinkler lines, we requested them to have a separate feed for each building. But they've agreed to that, so they're working on all those logistics now.
So you're gonna be a busy boy.
Yeah, we've.
mean,
yeah,
The permits
and
may be
actually they're.
issued, but the on-site observation is going to keep you hopping, I guess. All these.
Yeah,
We've got about 7 or 8 or
Oh,
9 projects in town that are.
yeah, 147 North Main is at a foundation. They're actually pouring the slab tomorrow, so you'll in the next 2 or 3 weeks you'll probably see a roof on that
Oh, good. Okay.
project too. So as they
All
say,
right.
once they get approved, we'd like to get them done.
Yeah. Well, good. Any other questions in the part of the board of any on any projects, any things that may be coming before that we need to be alerted to ahead of time? I mean, tonight was remarkably benign. Yeah. What else can I say, Mike? You got a tough one and then an easy one. So I'm not looking forward to March, not knowing what's coming.
John, I had one
Go ahead, Dave.
question on 147 South Main. I know they were supposed to remove all of the impermeable surface.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I've been by there, there's still large slabs of concrete.
Yes, he is removing that, but I think he's using that area for staging right now. So mud's not tracking everywhere. So you probably see some lumber on it, some other things.
Okay.
So as he finishes the building, he's going to move it out that way. The back portions of it are all removed. And so, as I say, that portion's coming out more towards I'd say the middle, towards the end of the project.
Okay, thanks.
But he's aware of it from both conservation and myself. So
Good. Okay. Thank you. Well, with that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the hearing, tonight's hearing of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second,
Moved and seconded. All in favor, Woody Chitik, aye.
Dave McMorris, aye.
Charlie Higginson, aye.
Lee Darstine.
Michael Dickey, aye.
Matt Watkins, aye.
Okay, It's approved unanimously. We will talk on March 7th. Thank you, Cassandra and John, for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
all.
Thanks.
Have a good
Good
night.
night, all.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
All right.